That's part of the disappearance. Like I'm saying, I'm not disappearing to twiddle my thumbs. I'm disappearing to do the behind the scenes work, the inner work, the shadow work necessary to pull off what it is I'm trying to pull off against, at times, supernatural competition.
Number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be.
Nobody talks about it.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah, I was surrounded by them.
Jim Carrey being completely missing from the Oscars this year has people seriously confused. And honestly, a little suspicious too. It's not like him to just disappear from a major event like that, so questions started popping up fast. Then things got even stranger when a man named Alexis Stone claimed he actually stepped in as Jim's body double for the CRE Awards in France. That claim alone turned heads, but it also sparked a bigger question. What really happened to the real Jim Carrey? Now the situation is starting to feel deeper than anyone expected. Jim hasn't been seen or heard from in a long time, and that silence is making people uneasy. At the same time, Katt Williams is stepping forward and speaking out, hinting that something much darker could be going on behind the scenes in Hollywood. He's not holding back either. He's suggesting there are powerful forces at play that most people don't even realize exist. Katt has been vocal for years about what he calls a culture of control and silence in the industry, and he's made it clear before that people who speak up don't just get ignored, they get pushed out or vanish from the spotlight completely. He even claims that once someone steps out of line, the consequences can be serious and not always visible to the public. If you're following this story, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment, because this might just be the beginning of something way bigger than it looks. One person people keep pointing to in all of this is Jim Carrey himself. He's always had a reputation for speaking his mind, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Over the years, he's openly talked about things like hidden power circles and how fake parts of Hollywood can be, and not everyone appreciated that. Some even believe moments like him being removed from events in 2019 were meant to embarrass him in front of everyone watching. But Jim didn't react the way people expected. Instead of pushing back or making a scene, he played it off like it was all part of the act, almost like he was in on the joke. To viewers, it came off strange, even confusing, but looking back now, moments like that are exactly why so many theories and conversations are still floating around today. And this wasn't the first time he had people raising eyebrows either. Back in 2016 at the Golden Globes, Jim walked on stage and completely flipped the usual award show script. Instead of safe, predictable jokes, he started questioning the entire idea of awards and what they really mean. The crowd laughed it off, including Denzel Washington, who couldn't hide his reaction. But beneath the humor, Jim seemed to be hinting at something deeper, something that went way beyond just a comedy bit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep this conversation going. He broke it down in a way that really made people think. Jim explained that awards might feel massive when you're inside the Hollywood bubble, but once you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, they're actually pretty small. He was basically calling out the system and asking why so much importance is placed on these moments, even hinting at how the industry can lift people up like they're playing roles on a stage. And that kind of message doesn't always sit well with powerful people in the spotlight. That's exactly why some fans are starting to connect this to what Katt Williams has been saying for years. When someone gets too loud about questioning how things work, why does it seem like they slowly fade out of the picture? After reaching the highest levels of success, Jim started opening up in a completely different way. He talked about fame not being as fulfilling as people think, and in interviews, he even said that identity itself might not be as real as we believe. According to him, the version of a person people see on screen could just be a character, not the full truth.
And everyone passed these rules on to you. Female agents were big in my life, and they had definitely a hand in telling me the rules that I had to abide by, such as, you have to have long hair, so the men in Hollywood would want to have sex with you. If they don't want to have sex with you, they're not gonna cast you.
Some fans think Jim simply went through a deep spiritual shift. He mentioned Eckhart Tolle and spoke about searching for purpose beyond fame and attention. But others are still not convinced and believe something bigger may have happened, especially as Jim began questioning Hollywood more directly, mocking award shows, rejecting the whole idea of icons, and straight up saying the system doesn't really matter. That's the energy Jim was bringing, and not everyone was comfortable with it. It all circles back to the warning people keep linking to Katt Williams. He's been saying for a long time that when someone in the industry starts speaking too openly, the system doesn't confront them directly. It slowly pushes them out of the spotlight. Fans point to other well-known names who've spoken out about serious issues of system at play, where powerful figures hold a lot of influence and can shape careers behind the scenes. Actress Rose McGowan once described her experience in a way that really caught attention. She didn't just call Hollywood unfair or controlling. She went as far as to call it a cult. People stunned. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment if you're following this closely. According to Rose McGowan, Hollywood isn't just about making movies. It's a system filled with unspoken rules that everyone somehow understands. She explained that when she first entered the industry as a teenager, she quickly noticed there were clear expectations about everything: how you looked, how you acted, even how you spoke in certain spaces. And if you didn't follow those unwritten rules, things could change fast. Opportunities could disappear almost overnight, and doors that once seemed open would suddenly close. She shared that many young actors are quietly guided into these expectations by agents, managers, and insiders who already know how the system works. In her experience, she was told her appearance had to fit a certain standard if she wanted to land roles. And if powerful decision makers didn't see you as fitting that image, she was warned your chances of getting work could drop quickly. That kind of pressure made it clear just how controlled things could feel behind the scenes. As more people started questioning how the industry operates, another name kept coming up: Dave Chappelle. For years, he's been known as one of the boldest voices in comedy. Never afraid to say what others won't, fans still talk about the moment he walked away from a massive deal with Comedy Central at the peak of Chappelle's show. Reports said the offer was around $50 million, but he still chose to leave, and that decision had people asking serious questions about what was really going on behind the curtain. Katt Williams believes Dave Chappelle made that bold move to protect his integrity. Walking away from that kind of money wasn't something most people would even consider, but to many fans, that moment turned Dave into a legend overnight. Now, some people started saying he must have seen something behind the scenes that didn't sit right with him. Others believed it was simpler. He just refused to let the industry control him or shape his voice. He even faced tough conversations with major figures like Oprah Winfrey in a widely talked about interview, where he stood firm on his views and didn't back down. No matter how you look at it, his decision only pushed the idea further that there are powerful forces operating quietly behind the curtain in Hollywood. But years later, new criticism began to surface. Singer and industry commentator Jaguar Wright started speaking out in multiple interviews, sharing her perspective on what she suggested that even people who once challenged the system can eventually find themselves back inside it. According to Wright, Dave's recent comedy feels different from the bold, rebellious energy people remember. She believes something may have changed over time, whether it's personal growth, outside pressure, or the realities of staying in the spotlight. Her claims have sparked debate, with some agreeing and others strongly pushing back. What do you think? Has anything really changed, or is this all being overran? And maybe the most shocking claim of all, some people believe there are secretive, highly exclusive gatherings in Hollywood attended by some of the industry's most powerful figures. These claims have been debated heavily, but they continue to spark curiosity and concern. For example, Rihanna's former publicist once shared his experience at certain private industry events. He claimed that before entering, guests were often required to sign strict non-disclosure agreements and even give up their phones. According to him, that created an environment where people felt confident that whatever happened inside would stay hidden from the outside world. When asked whether these gatherings were just extreme examples of celebrity lifestyle or something more structured, he gave a very direct answer. He said the atmosphere didn't feel random at all. In his view, it seemed carefully arranged, almost staged. He pointed to things like coordinated lighting, unusual music, and strong symbolic visuals that stood out to him. He made it clear that from his perspective, these elements weren't accidental, they were intentional. That alone raised a lot of eyebrows and added even more mystery to what really goes on at these private events. He also described a moment where a group of women were brought into the room by staff, and guests were encouraged to select companions for the evening. He said the situation felt uncomfortable, noting that the women didn't share personal details when he tried to speak with them, which only added to the uneasy feeling he described. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment if you want more breakdowns like this. And just when it seems like the story couldn't get any deeper, more questions start stacking up. Because when you connect all these moments, the disappearances, the interviews, the warnings, it starts to paint a picture that feels hard to ignore. People online have been asking the same thing over and over again. Why do so many big names speak out only to suddenly go quiet or shift direction later on? Is it pressure, personal choice, or something happening behind closed doors that the public never gets to see? What makes this even more intense is how consistent some of these stories sound. Different celebrities, different timelines, but similar experiences being shared in pieces. That's exactly why names like Jim Carrey, Dave Chappelle, and others keep getting pulled into the same conversation. At the same time, not everyone agrees with these ideas. Some believe these are just personal journeys, career changes, or misunderstandings being turned into something bigger than they really are.
The stuff that Dave Chappelle is doing right now, for me, it's just what it sounds like to me is that they took the bullet points of everything that they were trying to push during the trial, and they gave it to you to do this beautiful monologue, trying to make it seem like, yeah, because government is after the black man, and whatever.
And honestly, that side of the argument raises valid points too. Still, one thing is clear. People are paying closer attention than ever before, and they're not just accepting everything at face value anymore. The real question is, what's actually true and what's just speculation? If you've made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. Now here's where things take another unexpected turn, because while all these stories and claims keep circulating, some insiders say the real power in Hollywood isn't always visible. It operates quietly, through influence, connections, and who gets opportunities versus who gets left out. A lot of people believe success in the industry isn't just about talent. It's also about playing the game the right way. And when someone decides not to follow that path, that's when things can reportedly get complicated fast. Careers stall, projects fall through, and suddenly the spotlight starts to fade. That idea lines up with what some of these celebrities have hinted at over the years. Not always directly, but in small comments, strange interviews, or sudden decisions that didn't fully make sense at the time. At the same time, others argue that Hollywood is just a competitive space like any other. They say careers rise and fall naturally, and not everything has to point to something deeper or hidden. But with so many stories overlapping and so many voices speaking out in different ways, people can't help but keep digging and asking questions. So what do you think is really going on behind the scenes? Coincidence, pressure, or something more controlled? Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep this discussion going. And now, everything leads back to the biggest question of all. What really happened to Jim Carrey? His absence, his past statements, and the way his perspective shifted over the years have only made people more curious. Some believe he simply stepped away from the spotlight on his own terms. After years of success, pressure, and constant attention, it wouldn't be surprising if he chose peace over fame and decided to live a more private life. But others aren't convinced it's that simple. They point to his interviews, his behavior at public events, and the strong opinions he shared about Hollywood, suggesting there might be more to the story than just a quiet exit. Then there are those who think this entire situation is being overanalyzed. They argue that people change, priorities shift, and not every mystery needs a deeper explanation. Still, the timing, the silence, and everything surrounding it keeps the conversation alive. Whether it's coincidence or something more, one thing is clear. People aren't done asking questions anytime soon. So where do you stand on this? Is this just a personal journey playing out in public, or is there something bigger happening behind the scenes that we're not being told? Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop your opinion in the comments, because this story might not be over yet. Because of everything he witnessed, Jonathan later admitted the situation left him with serious concerns. He questioned whether there could have been some form of pressure or exploitation involved, but he was also clear he didn't directly see any crimes and couldn't confirm exactly what those women were going through. Still, that doesn't stop the bigger questions from getting louder. Why do some celebrities who speak out suddenly step away or seem to disappear from the spotlight? What's really happening behind closed doors? And who is actually in control of these powerful spaces? These are questions a lot of people are asking, and they're not going away anytime soon. Some say it's all coincidence. Others believe there's more happening beneath the surface. So now it comes down to you. What do you think is really going on behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to help the channel grow and keep these conversations going.